Ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader here on YouTube, and folks, we're talking the Sandbox today. Sand, S-A-N-D. We'll be going over what it is. We'll check it out on CoinGecko, and then last but not least, we'll see if it's a good time to enter the market. Not financial or trading advice, by the way. So back to the game itself. This is basically an open virtual world that is going to be huge. And one thing I learned is that the amount of money to be made in the Metaverse via Facebook and everything else is going to be crazy. Crypto Airborne had Rob from Digital Asset News on his channel for an interview earlier this week. They touched on the Metaverse and what is to come of it. They were talking about the possibilities of advertisers advertising to people the same way YouTube does, but virtually. It's going to get interesting. I mean, I don't think that people realize how big this is actually going to be. Earlier in the week, Crypto Airborne was so excited about the whole VR experience in the Metaverse that he sent me a VR headset. So big shout out to him. I'd never really tried it, but I quickly became addicted, and it's just something that is so much fun, to say the least. So I'm not here to try to plug, sand, or shill this to you guys in any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you guys from my experience, it's addicting. Now, one thing that's going to draw a lot of people away from this is the prices of stuff right now, especially if you get in late. A lot of these games have young clientele, and this is definitely going to impact their ability to play the game, interact within the game, and feel good about it. And when I kind of was looking around at some of this stuff, I quickly realized that the token, Sand, is an ERC20 token. So it's an Ethereum token, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that, especially right now, because Ethereum is broken. We can look at gas fees right now. We're seeing stuff $188 down to $102 just to send something on the network. So that is ridiculous, in my opinion. But we can see that, when we want to buy a new pair of shoes for my Sandbox character, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. In addition to that, you're going to have to pay the gas fees. So I'm kind of stuck here trying to figure out how a little 16-year-old kid is going to try to finance this stuff without mom and dad's money. So that, I do like the idea of Sandbox, and I do think that they will integrate some more user-friendly price points. That is my biggest catch on that right now, is how are people supposed to get into this without it costing them a kidney? So let's just break down the Sandbox. It's up 11.5%. I'm not sure in how long. I would assume 24 hours. It's ranked number 65 in the crypto world. I mean, that's huge to be a top 100 coin. So we can see that we currently have a circulating supply of just under 900 mil with a max supply of 3 bill. So the total market cap right now is sitting at about 2.9 billion. So we could say that maybe a 10 billion market cap, somewhere in there, might be right around $10, which is not bad. I do think that this thing has a lot more potential than just a $10 sand coin, but we'll have to get into that as things go on. So that's kind of what I'm liking and what I'm not liking about it. I think this is going to be huge. And check me out playing this little clip in virtual reality world. This is from an army video that I downloaded to my Oculus 2. And this was just wild. I'll let you guys kind of vibe on this for 10 seconds. So this whole experience basically just makes you lose track of time completely. It is insane. But just imagine if you threw on your VR headset and you're walking around cities kind of like the same way you were just on that shooting range. In addition, imagine if there's advertisements up that you're seeing. Maybe there's radio ads that you're hearing. I mean, TV ads, everything just, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So let's get into the charts, because I think that's what a lot of people want to know, is maybe they've heard about this and maybe they're interested in it. So let's look at this thing on a weekly chart. I've never really looked at this chart ever. So with that said, right away, I'm kind of seeing the fact that there might be some sort of cup and handle here. I'm not sure if there is Elliott wave theory to the upside. We might be able to argue that. We do have some great full-bodied candles moving to the upside. And if we just go ahead and throw up a little fib extension here, you can see how much this thing has really run up in the grand scheme of things. I do think that it is due for a little bit of a retracement. The primary reason is that we are trading quite a ways from this cloud. And I do think that this thing will need to edge back in to move up. We are seeing a lot of this selling going on as well. So anything above $3.61 just gets sold right down to about $2.44. This is all subject to change as time goes on. And let's just look at, a daily chart here. Okay, so what we have here is, yeah, we definitely have an ascending triangle that built up. This is interesting, but we can clearly see that this is the case right here. And we got a nice launch here. So I do think that some of the time you can go ahead and draw a flagpole like this from the top of this trend line here where the ascending triangle is down to where the break point was. And we can kind of throw it up here. And you can see this is where I might have expected a move like this to run up to $1.80-ish, somewhere in there, but we have in fact climbed a lot higher than that. So let's just go ahead and see where things are at here. And yeah, you can really see how this thing is just defying the odds. We're almost up to this 476 level, and that is pretty incredible to see. If this is Elliott wave theory to the upside, I do think that we will see this thing go up a lot higher. Let's just switch out of log here. And you can kind of see the trajectory. RSI is way overbought at 94. So if I had to give a recommendation, and this isn't financial or trading advice because this thing could just keep ripping upwards for all I know, is that this is just not a good price entry. At least I would never enter this right now. On the 1 hour chart, we can kind of make the case here for some Elliott wave theory to the upside. And it looks like we have some sort of ABC or ABCDE correction occurring. Now, one other thing I'd like to point out is that this is the top of Elliott wave theory, and what do we have kind of going on here? Well, we kind of have a rising, or I'm sorry, we have a rising wedge. Excuse me, I was looking at something else off the screen. We have a somewhat of a rising wedge that is forming. And this might signal that there could be a little bit of a reversal in the works. However, I do think that more time is needed to determine where this thing is actually going to go. We are kind of trading in towards the cloud right now, and this is very evident, but I do think that a reality check is due, especially on on these larger time frames like this 12-hour chart, we can see RSIs at about 88. I mean, this thing could just keep pumping and pumping. We can kind of see a little bit of Elliott wave theory in the cloud, which makes me kind of paranoid to enter at this point, given the RSI levels and basically all of this stuff. So, like I said, this is kind of one of those gambles. If you do decide to enter the market, you might be better off just kind of playing the waiting game until some stabilization could happen. But like, here's a good example of what I'm trying to talk about here. Price action went way up high, had to get a lot closer to the cloud for permission to move back upwards. So I do think that we may see some price move back towards this $2-ish level, somewhere in there. Wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying, folks. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. But I think that in the long term, if you're planning on doing some long-term business with sand and holding some coins down for a while, this is definitely something to consider. On a grander scale, we can definitely see this channel here. Let's see if this comes up with anything. I mean, so we do have a very nice channel here. Let's go ahead and see if we can predict any time sequence. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Yeah, this is kind of one of those things where it's going to be tough just because of the circumstances around the news and the release of this token. So one other thing that I wanted to just throw up here was a pitchfork. So we can see that currently this thing is about to press up, or is pressing up against the median line of this pitchfork here. Said it wouldn't surprise me to see this thing trade sideways a little bit. And I mean, we could really be seeing this thing run up the ladder quite nicely, actually. So I don't know. Am I going to get any? Maybe. I might pick up a couple just to see where this thing goes. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a wild ride for sand. And the metaverse and all this VR stuff, folks, is just so crazy to think about right now, because a lot of people just don't have the experience, including myself, as to what is exactly going on here. And big shout out to Crypto Airborne, who got me into the VR space. It's so much fun. I'm telling you guys, if you have an Oculus 2, download some of the stuff or go out and buy one and download some of the stuff and give it a try. It's more addicting than you'll think. But for now, I'm good on ETH gas, folks. I'm not playing this game until they can fix the ETH gas in this whole situation. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this different video. Give me a huge follow on Twitter if you would, at Real6Fig. This is where I drop news, videos, things like that. And we'll see you guys on the next video.